DC film star Ezra Miller is at it again. This time, the star of the upcoming Flash film has physically assaulted another woman, this time using a weapon. When is enough going to be enough for Warner Brothers Discovery now? I guess the merger is complete. DC Films. When is enough going to be enough? How many people does Ezra Miller need to assault before it's time to cut bait and maybe move on to a new actor to play the Flash? I understand that principal photography on the Flash movie is complete, and they have pushed it back because I imagine they need to rework the movie. They need to do some reshoots or something, but it's time to come up with plan B, because apparently Ezra Miller is not going to stop until he's in prison. Apparently he's been on a crime spree through the entire month of March, it sounds like. Absolute insanity. When we have all the details, we know just a week and a half ago that the Warner Brothers people had to have a secret meeting with the DC people about the future of Ezra Miller, and supposedly they were going to put the character on a pause, or the actor on a pause, moving forward, because they didn't want to know what to do, probably wanted to see what the legal system was going to do. But at some point, you have to put your foot down. At some point, even as a corporation, you have to have some principles and morals. Warner Brothers are free to do whatever they want. I am not here to say, you have to fire somebody or I'll never watch another movie. Hey, you do what's right in your heart, and you do what you think is right for your company. And obviously, you have a ton of money and time invested in Ezra Miller being a big star. I don't think that was ever going to be in the stars for that person, even without the legal troubles that Ezra Miller's in. But at some point, you just have to go. You can only assault so many women. You can only be arrested so many times. You can only be a menace to society for so long before you're no longer going to be a movie star for our studio. But apparently we haven't reached that point. Warner Brothers, of course, is radio silent. They're not going to go out there and condemn the behavior or even make a judgment decision on the future of Ezra Miller. They're going to sit back and wait and make themselves look stupid in the process. Because every time Ezra Miller gets arrested, every time Ezra Miller makes headlines, which is always for the wrong reasons nowadays, it's always going to say Warner Brothers actor, DC film star, Flash film star. It's all associated with you, whether you want to be or not. Now, we do have the latest details. This stuff's insane. You shouldn't be going out there and you shouldn't be assaulting women. I understand Ezra Miller identifies as non-binary and perhaps thinks those rules don't apply to them, him, whatever. It's cowardly, it's bitch-made, and it's unbecoming of anybody. You shouldn't be out there assaulting anyone, specifically women, in my opinion. But let's get to the details before I get too pissed off about this. Ezra Miller was arrested again in Hawaii, this time being taken in for a second-degree assault after an incident at a residence in Pahau. Per a police report, cops responded to a report of an assault at a get-together at a private house around 1:10 a.m. During an investigation, police identified Miller as the suspect and determined that they became irate after being asked to leave and reportedly threw a chair, striking a 26-year-old female in the forehead, resulting in an approximate half-inch cut. The victim declined medical treatment. Miller was subsequently arrested around 1:30 a.m. after police found them on the roadway during a traffic stop. Miller was released from custody at about 4:05 a.m. after cops conferred with prosecutors. So we've seen the video where he's choking the lady in Iceland. We know that he's been on a crime spree. You're going to get into that a little bit more here in a second. And now he's throwing chairs and hitting ladies in the face, causing gashes on their foreheads and permanently scarring them. What else does Ezra Miller really need to do? Does he need to murder somebody? Is that what Ezra Miller needs to do for Warner Brothers Discovery under David Zaslav to make a decision and say, you know what? Enough is enough. Let's put our foot down and let's stop enabling Ezra Miller and their behavior and the way that they're going out and assaulting people. Without the money, without the so-called fame, and feeling that they're bulletproof, you probably don't have Ezra Miller going out there and just assaulting people willy-nilly. But apparently, once you're a movie star, you can just go out there and the rules don't apply to you. Of course, that has been true in the past. This is enough. You've had plenty of opportunities for Ezra Miller to change their stripes and behave better, or at least act like they're contrite and they actually give a shit about the people that they're harming. I don't think there's ever really been a real apology about this stuff. I get the distinct impression that Ezra Miller doesn't really give a shit, but I'm also getting the distinct impression that perhaps Warner Brothers doesn't really. Let's just put it on pause and hope it all blows over. Well, that's not happening because Ezra Miller can't stop getting arrested right now. The arrest is Miller's latest in a string of run-ins with law enforcement in Hawaii over the past month or so. In March alone, Miller was reportedly the subject of at least 10 police phone calls in Hilo, Hawaii, with the actor accused of filming people at a gas station, refusing to leave the sidewalk outside of a restaurant, and arguing with people. Listen, we're all human. We make mistakes, and sometimes the police get called in, and they come in, and they talk to you, and you change your behavior. You're like, all right, I don't want to get arrested or anything. I'm not trying to cause a problem. Having the police called on you 10 times in a month, that's once every 3 days, is a bit much. You're obviously going out there and being a public nuisance. You're being a menace to society. Why are you filming people at a gas station? That's strange behavior. Why are you arguing with people to such a degree that the police are being called in? And why doesn't Warner Brothers care? Should Ezra Miller even be starring in this upcoming Flash movie, even though they've, essentially filmed most of it? I understand that it's the big return of Michael Keaton as Batman, and it feels like it's supposed to be a big deal, and maybe it'll be a table setter for whatever the DCEU is going to be moving forward. Perhaps it's time to change gears, maybe rewrite the script, get old Grant Gustin in there, and Flash people actually like, that isn't out there getting arrested all the time. It's the Flashpoint movie. There's different versions of the Flash and different multiverses. It's the perfect opportunity to use what you have. You got the footage, and just write this dude out of the DC, EU permanently, and probably out of Warner Brothers permanently. How many times can this dude step on his own dick, make himself look like a complete jackass, which apparently it sure sounds like he is, before, there's no more chances, no mas. You know what I mean? On March 28th, Miller was arrested after becoming agitated by a couple singing at karaoke. Per the arrest report, Miller grabbed the microphone from the woman singing and later lunged at a man playing darts. I don't want to hear the song Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper in a bar either, but it doesn't give you the right to go out there and try and take something from somebody, then assault somebody to play in darts while they're minding their own business. Even if they did go in there and maybe stand up for the lady and be like, give her microphone back, you don't get a lunge at people. This dude is going to get himself knocked the fuck out. Because while Ezra Miller likely sees himself as really important, most normal people don't probably even recognize the guy. And if they do, they don't give a shit. Somebody's going to end up fucking this guy up. And he's going to be kind of asking for it. And like I said, I don't think that people should go around assaulting each other, but I also don't think that you shouldn't defend yourself either. How many times does this guy have to get himself on hot water? You might remember the last time we talked about Ezra Miller, a mere hours after they were arrested for disorderly conduct and harassment, Miller was released on bail and then allegedly stormed into a couple's bedroom and threatened them. Per court documents, the couple claimed that Miller burst into the bedroom and said, "I will burn your slut wife." Miller was accused of stealing a passport and a wallet. The couple then filed a temporary restraining order against Miller. Another threat of violence against women on Miller's behalf. What does Ezra Miller have to do to convince Warner Brothers Discovery, DC Films, and Hollywood that maybe you shouldn't trust Ezra Miller with multi-million-dollar properties and films that could potentially make $1 billion? Because he's just going to go around there, threaten people, beat up women. Let's start treating Ezra Miller like a real person, because we both know you and I would never, ever get away with any of this behavior. The DCEU is a tainted enough brand without Ezra Miller throwing his taint all over it as well. And Warner Brothers Discovery have the perfect opportunity. They've moved the film back over a year. They've already delayed it once. They're going to do some reshoots. It's time to reconfigure the film and reconfigure the DCEU without Ezra Miller likely moving forward. Now, I know there were reports, this is a comic book channel, that the Flash Fastest Man Alive comic book that was a prequel to the Flash movie had actually outright been canceled. We did hear from the artist, I think it's Juan Ferreira, who's a wonderful artist, by the way, that is not in fact the case, that the comic book itself was actually just delayed until far later in the year, where it will more coincide with the film actually coming out. Who knows? Maybe it's time to scrap that too. It's time to get rid of Ezra Miller. It's time to get rid of the Snyderverse and start the DCEU over again. It sounds like David Zaslav understands that there's enormous potential and also enormous problems with DC, whether it be the comics universe, the animation, the films, television, all that stuff, under Warner Brothers, now Warner Brothers Discovery, and that it probably needs a hard reset. We know that they're looking at bringing someone in to be the czar of all things DC. I know that they have been interviewing people. I've kind of heard that behind the scenes. Hopefully they get the right person. But even before that person gets hired, they probably should just do the right thing. It's time to call a spade and realize that Ezra Miller is a jackass. He cannot change who he is. He is incorrigible. He's literally going to go out there, apparently get drunk and fight people and hurt women until the end of time, until somebody puts a stop to it. It's time for the adults in the room over at Warner Brothers Discovery, DC Films, to step in and be like, okay, you had your chance and you fucked it up royally. Now you are a human being and we're going to treat you like a human being. You're free to go somewhere else and pursue your dreams, but you can't do it here because you've tainted our image, you've tainted the brand, and quite frankly, we're tired of being embarrassed by your personal behavior. I wish I could tell you that Ezra Miller and the Flash is the only thing that really needs to be cleaned up about the DCEU and DC Films within Warner Brothers Discovery, but the problems go a lot deeper than that. They've been ongoing essentially from day one. For every hit they have 2 or 3 bombs. It apparently, before this merger occurred, the big idea was to replace Superman with Supergirl and Batman with Batgirl. Obviously, these are terrible ideas. There's a lot to clean up at Warner Brothers Discovery regarding DC Films. It's not going to be easy, but it is very important to finally realize the full potential. Check this video out, check out all the details, and see what a mess Warner Brothers Discovery and David Zaslav have to clean up.